Well, welcome back. Hey, today I'm standing in Buffalo County, Wisconsin, and I'm actually auctioning this 230-acre farm, just a beautiful property. But as I was here thinking about who the future owner of this property might be, I started thinking about how does a guy afford this? Well, I'm going to tell you a way that you could create cash flow on your property that you might not have thought about, and that's using sites like VRBO, HomeAway.com, or Airbnb. I personally do it on my own farm, and we're going to talk about how that works out. So if you're interested in finding a way to pay for your hunting addiction using the assets you already own, that's what we're going to talk about. Hope you enjoy this episode. You're watching The American Landman. You know, in about 2010, I bought my first piece of hunting property, and it was just raw timber. There wasn't anything on it. Surely wasn't a building. And I thought, you know, if I could build a small cabin and use one of these websites that are kind of new, these rental sites like HomeAway.com, Airbnb, VRBO, to rent this property, I think people will come up here. And I got a lot of pushback from folks that I know. They thought, who's going to come way the heck up in northern Wisconsin? I mean, what do they do up here? But I thought, you know, if you build it, they will come. So I set about and I built this nice little, very adequate cabin, and I put it on those sites. And before you know it, the rentals start coming in. And I made quite a bit of money on that. It was kind of a break-even process, but it paid for my taxes. It paid for my food plot seed, and it paid for the mortgage. And in the end, it was a break even. But I tell you what, when I was trying to convince my wife that this was a good idea, it really helped. And it was a really simple process. So let's talk about that. So if you think you're gonna put your property on the market for rentals for the guests, the couple things you gotta do. Number one, you pick your site, and they all kind of talk to each other. So you could put it on multiple sites, and they'll actually cross book in a sense. All the scheduling and calendars and whatnot, and the money exchange all kind of work interactively and interchangeably between them. So you could, for example, I put mine on HomeAway.com. And HomeAway.com is a sister site to VRBO.com, and then there's Airbnb.com. You go on there, you enter your data, you write a little ditty about the property and tell all the features and benefits of it. What do you do and when you come to the area? What do you offer when you're there as far as amenities? Does it have air conditioning? Does it have a bathroom? Is there a hot tub? You know, all that kind of stuff. Then you go out and you take some photos of your property. And if you can get video of the property, even better. Folks definitely like that. So you create a profile, you link it to your bank account, and people start to book. You'll get these notifications by text message that somebody's interested in booking your property and coming in for a stay. You're able to review that person, what they're there for. You know, are they there for a wedding? Is it a bachelorette party? Are they just weekenders wanting to get away? You can interact with that person via text. You can't call them. They won't allow you to exchange phone numbers until they book. But eventually you can accept their booking. And it's a really seamless process. It works very well. And I've done it hundreds of times over the last 10 years. So once your bookings start, your rankings in your area for other VRBO offerings will start to elevate. The more renters you get, the more positive reviews you get, the better your rank status becomes. And it actually starts, the website starts driving your property in front of people. I literally called around and talked to other VRBO people. I talked to the hotels, and I determined, you know, how much are you renting per night, and to try to place my property. I was renting my own property for about $200 a night, and now my current property is bringing in close to $300 a night. And that was just all positioning, just like you would do with any product. You want to position your product or your property in the market so it's attractive and it makes sense. I figure I can book 9 people in my current property at about $100 a night, which is at or slightly below what it would cost for them to get at a hotel. And I offer so much more. I have pool tables, I have trails that they could go walking on, fire pit, just a lot of amenities. So it's just positioning your property according to what you offer as far as features and benefit, according to what's offered in the area. That's how you set your price. So in the end, the obvious positive of this is the income that you bring. My last property brought in about $15,000 to $18,000 a year positive net cash flow. That was a tremendous help in paying down the mortgage, creating my return on equity, and frankly, just paying for my addiction of hunting, my tree stands, my seed, my fertilizer, my lime. All that was paid for by my renters. But there's also a dark side, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So being a VRBO landowner is not all fun and games, let me tell you. Recently, I had some renters that showed up at the property, and I had my cameras out, and they showed up, and as I usually do from the exterior, I get notified that somebody's there, and it's all good. They're checking in, and the first thing the guy does when he gets out of the car is he walks over to the bushes, and you know what he does. So, big man, 300 pounds. He's doing his thing, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, but I have to look past it. So they go up there, they stay there, and 2 days later they check out, and I get a message. So I drive up there to clean, and when I arrive, you wouldn't believe what I see. There is no less than 18 bags of garbage. There are piles and piles of beer cans and bottles and pizza boxes. They had bought a big piece of plastic, and they had set it out in my yard, and they had a big slip and slide because it was a hot, muggy day in August. They took all of my liquid soap from under the sink, and they had a good time. You can't blame them for that. But then they proceeded to track in every blade of grass that possibly could come out of my yard was now inside my cabin on the carpet. It was in the freezer. It was in the shower. It was on the floor. It was in the bed, in the carpet, in the furniture. It was everywhere. I have no idea how it ended up in the freezer, so I gave them a call. I said, hey, how did you get all this grass in the freezer? And they said, well, your air conditioner went out. I said, yeah, that's true. I'm getting it fixed. And it was hot, so we decided to take all of the towels that we had found and made them wet, put them in the freezer to freeze them so we could wrap them around our head like a turban and cool ourselves down. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, that makes sense why there was a pile of towels, literally the size, it was up to my waist, every towel. They were sopping wet. They were sitting on the carpet instead of 3 feet over here on the tile. So they had a good time. In the end, nothing was hurt. A little bit extra cleaning time, and I didn't even keep their deposit, but I had the option. The idea of people being in your house that might not be as clean as you are there for a good time. Sometimes they're a little hard on the property. They're drinking beer, they're having fires, and it's a little bit hard to get used to. So if you're a person that gets a little squeamish about somebody else being in your house, this might not be the best opportunity for you. But me personally, I've been able to separate myself from the actual rental because I own other rentals, and I'm kind of used to it by now. And after 10 years, I could tell you that I have not had a lot of problems. I typically set my prices high enough so I kind of filter out the riffraff. And when you look at those Benjamins coming in at the end of the year, and you know that you're actually making money or at least breaking even on this property, it makes it worth it. I take my properties, I set them up with my blinds, my tree stands, I create my food plots, and all this is paid for by my renters. So it's just something to think about. If you're looking at buying land and you can't really make up your decision if you can afford it or not, maybe VRBO, HomeAway.com, Airbnb, or the like is the way to do it. I hope you found this interesting. Hey, if you'd like to talk about renting a property and just kind of really deep dive into my experiences, I'd love to talk to you about it. Give me a call. Hey, I'm Neil Hauger, and I'm a land specialist with Whitetail Properties Real Estate. I appreciate you checking in and liking this vlog. If you wouldn't mind hitting that share button, that'd be great. I'd like to see you out here in the fields, and I want to be your guy in the land business. Thanks for watching The American Landman.